Hi, Mayor.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Great, thank you. Thanks for coming in to see me
Thank you very much for agreeing to do
in the
this.
spacious, luxurious mayor's office.
Yes, very nice.
Yes.
You need some artwork.
This is my Zen wall treatment.
Okay.
What's up?
I want to ask you a couple questions about ranked choice voting and how that went. First question I want to ask you is, how did your campaign strategy shift once it became clear that RCV was going to be implemented for our 2018 elections?
The one big change that was required was you have to talk to everybody. If you think about what most campaigns do, they establish a so-called path to victory, and you do that by identifying the people who are most likely to support you and most likely to vote. And with ranked choice voting, the universe expands dramatically, and you end up with a much more broad-based campaign and talking to more people who might rank you second, third, fourth, fifth, rather than just focusing on the people you already know are your most likely to vote for you and most likely to vote.
Mm-hmm. And how did your campaign manager feel about that?
It's not you. You do what
You do what you need to do.
you do. What you if you want to win an election, you adapt to the conditions of the rules. So we did that.
All right. So your support grew significantly from 39 to 66% by the end of the fourth round of counting, based on your second and third choice support. How does this information empower you as you begin your term as mayor?
I think what it says is that people expect you to be the mayor of everybody, and it's less a matter of being empowered than being responsible. It changes, I think, in a good way, what people often give lip service to in elections, which is, if elected, I will be the mayor or the fill in the blank, X of everybody, to actually saying everybody voted, everybody ranked their choices, and now you really are accountable to everybody in the community. It goes without saying you're accountable with whether they voted for you or not, but this simply adds to that sense of connection between the voter and the elected official.
Mm-hmm. As a follow-up on that, how did conversations that you had with voters who were supportive of a different candidate as their first choice inform your stance on any of the issues that you're working on now?
It didn't so much change my position on the issues. What it did, I think, was to make sure that I was listening to what people had to say, and that if I didn't agree with them or if I wanted to win their vote, I could find a different way to connect with them that wasn't a zero-sum game. You look for ways you could agree or
Mm-hmm.
ways you could find common ground. Or you could say, we don't agree on your first place vote, but look at all the areas where we could come together and agree on things that the mayor should do.
When we did the exit poll survey, we found that the vast majority of voters said that candidates or campaign volunteers had asked them for their second or third choice vote. Do you have an anecdote or an example of that you'd like to share when you were talking to a voter?
Well, it happened quite a bit. You're knocking on doors and people say, I've already committed to a different candidate, and you simply come back and say, well, this is ranked choice voting for the first time. Would you consider me for second or third position on your ballot? And it was always a very positive conversation. People are open to that discussion. It usually results in a laugh or two. And it does lighten up the mood a little bit, since it's not just yes, no, it's not first place, but convince me I should be, if you're the voter, tell me why I should put you second or third.
And you found that voters were wanting to have that bargaining conversation with you?
I think people enjoyed the give and take, as opposed to check the box yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
It turned into a more pleasant discussion. You know, what would it take to win your vote for the second spot or the third spot? And again, I think it adds a sense of civility to the discussion. It's less adversarial. You're not putting somebody in a corner, and they're not having to tell you, I would never vote for you.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes much more of a dialogue.
Nice. Lastly,
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think that ranked choice voting brought to Santa Fe, not only on election night, but throughout the whole campaign process?
I think the benefits are as advertised. It changes the dialogue between the candidates. People had to find a way to disagree, but not be disagreeable with each other. So there was less negative campaigning. I think the dialogue with the public was expanded. The reach was expanded. The nature of the interactions was much more civil and positive. In general, what it really had a tempering influence on the political climate, and it made people, I think, more interested in the election. Mm-hmm. We had something like 23 separate public forums, which is a lot, and they were very well attended, even to the end of the campaign. And I think part of that was that folks who may have decided who they wanted as their first choice took seriously the idea of evaluating second, third, fourth, fifth choice. And in order to do that, they would come to the events and listen, participate, and go back home and think about not just yes, no, but in this order I would rank the candidates. And so I would say the turnout was higher, but also during the process, the level of inquiry, engagement, interest was much higher. I think people changed their minds along the way, which is I think that's a good sign of civic engagement, that you're not closed down ideologically. You're actually evaluating the candidates in real time. So I think the pluses were all the things that people have said about ranked choice voting in general. It does reduce the negativity. It does increase the quality of engagement.
And what was your experience as a voter? Did you enjoy going in there and writing
I
your
just
ballot?
voted for myself and tore up the rest of the ballot.
Is that what you did?
No, don't be silly. No, I think, it's like the old joke, I'm not only president of Hair Club, I'm also a client.
Yeah.
You go into the ballot box or the booth, and you're not only looking at your race. There was a city council race in my district that was ranked choice, and you slow down. As a voter, I slowed down. I looked at the names. I looked at the qualifications. I thought about what the ranking would mean potentially. First place, second place, third place, and I found it to be a really good moment of reflection as a voter. That I was not just, again, autopilot, checking a box on name recognition only, or ideology only, or friendship only. I had to look at other criteria. So I think it was a good test of the voter, and the voters in Santa Fe passed with flying colors.
They sure did. Well, thank you so much, Mayor. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in. Yeah.
Did you vote already for the primaries?
I'm voting tomorrow for the primaries.
Are you a election day voter always?
I wasn't in the mayor's race because the campaign team said just go
Just
early
do it, yeah.
and turn it into we'll try to get some supporters out, turn it into a little event. In general, I grew up voting with my mom and dad on election day.
Yeah.
And it was a ceremony
Me
and
too.
a celebration. And you see all your neighbors, and you go in, and if you're in line, that's a good thing. It means there's a big turnout, and the line becomes a chance to chat. And then you get into the polling place and into the booth, and it's a very sacred thing. It's a test of your citizenship. So I always traditionally voted on election day, and I will be tomorrow.
Maybe I'll see you there tomorrow.
I'll be there.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks for coming in. Congratulations.
Thank you.